Tamara, welcome to Zug. It's good to have you on board at Cardano Foundation. For everyone, Tamara Haasen is our newest council member and also Chief of Staff at IOHK, our ecosystem partner. We know that you have a Juris Doctorate and you have theater credentials, you have audio engineering certifications. So what do people should know about you that's not in the press release? It's not in the announcement.
That's not in the press release. Did you put that in the press release, that I was an audio engineer as well? Okay.
Yes.
So something about me that's not there. Well, I was also in theater. I don't know if people know that as well. I studied acting for a little while. Yeah, maybe just that I've always sort of been one of those people that's wanted to sort of change the system. So when I was really, really little, I didn't get this from my parents. I don't know where it came from. I just always saw inefficiencies in everything, in systems. And I always wanted to sort of be a part of how to change it. It sounds stupid or lame to say like to change the world, but really to sort of push us a little bit further along. So I guess what's not in the press release is that I've done all of these things sort of in an effort to, well, combine some of my passions, but also just sort of find how I can be most effective and useful in that pursuit. And that's why blockchain, when I discovered blockchain back in, gosh, when was it? I guess 2011 in Toronto, it just sort of ignited my passion, and it just made a lot of sense. It was like, okay, you know, this is actually how we're going to do it. And so yeah, I've sort of been on this life journey to finding, we all are, to trying to find how we can best add value to this society and to this world, and that's sort of how I found it, through this meandering through life and ending up here at IOHK, now the Cardano Foundation.
Yes, and I like the word adding value, and I want to nitpick on that a little bit.
Sure.
Actually. What value are you going to add to the Cardano Foundation as its newest council member?
That's a very good question. Well, hopefully a lot, and I expect people to remove me from the council immediately if I am not adding value. I'm a big believer in a meritocracy, or an open and transparent system. So one thing that I'd like to bring is that level of sort of transparency back to the community as well, making sure that I'm communicating constantly what we're doing at the Cardano Foundation, because we're not some sort of like stuffy, and it shouldn't be a stuffy sort of bureaucratic body. And we're basically here to sort of enable the product and the ecosystem, enable it. We're an enabling force. So I'd like to bring, or really communicate that, make sure that I help tie together what our actual mission is as a foundation. I'm pretty annoying when it comes to making plans. I'm a big planner and strategist. I annoyed IOHK with that all the time as well. And any company I go to, I'm always like, okay, that's great, but what's the plan? What's the strategy? I mean, strategies can change, absolutely. They can be agile, and I'm a big believer in agile methodology as well. But I believe that everything has to start with sort of, this is where my legal side comes in too, because it's like a constitution, for example, of a country. Those are your guiding principles. You sort of know what you're doing, and each government that comes in sort of, not very well in my opinion, but outlines their mandate of what they're going to do for the next 4 years. So I've come into the Cardano Foundation sort of looking for that plan, that strategy, and helping to work with Nathan and Domino and Henrik, who is excellent, and you guys and the whole team, to sort of coalesce all of these wonderful ideas and thoughts into a clear sort of strategic plan that we can actually all act on together.
I like the word enable, but I also like the word empower. So my understanding is part of your new role will be empowering action, empowering decision making, empowering adding value, empowering bringing a new dimension to the foundation.
I like that.
New layer.
There's a reason why you're a communications person. This is beautiful. Yes, it is a
the
new
job.
layer. The absolutely. Empowerment is key. So in part of my role in IOHK as HR director and now chief of staff is that you just enable people to do what is best, enable people to be good leaders. Everybody is a leader. I know it's just something people say, but it's actually true. We're all leaders. We're all in the same level as well. I truly believe that. Even in IOHK, I mean, Charles is sort of on a different level than all of us, but he's still, you know, the CEO is still just equally as important as, you know, my performance and management analysts, and just as important as my director of engineering to an actual engineer, right? So empowering people just to work together, to collaborate, and to get that sort of like team structure and cohesion going is something that I just love to do. It's amazing, and I think I'm pretty decent at it because I'm a pretty open, honest person, and I see the best in people. I really do, and I want to help them thrive. So another thing I am going to assist with is hiring. So hiring at the actual operational level of the foundation, and then also hiring the council. So this is
the talent strategy.
Yeah.
It's talent,
Yeah.
bringing the right talent with the right skills at
Yes.
the right time juncture in the key departments.
very difficult to do too.
Exactly.
Very difficult to do well. Finding really good people and people that work with the already sort of created culture that a company or a foundation in this instance has created. It's really hard to do. It's a science. It really is. And you can't get it perfect every time, but I absolutely want to bring my experience with what I've gained from IOHK. I want to bring that over to the Cardano Foundation and help hire the right people. And I think it's important to mention at this point in time the council. It's really important to define what the council is. What does the council do? What are its powers, its parameters, its remit, its responsibilities, and who should be on the council? So one of the key things is the council needs to be representative. Representative of what? What does that mean? So I think that we need to work on the strategy first to figure out exactly where we're going, and then we can put onto the council the right sort of skill set and people. So I see the council more as advisors, right? So if you're in a company, you have this network of advisors. So for example, one person I was thinking of bringing onto the council is somebody obviously in the open source world, somebody that can add value into our ecosystem and help sort of, you know, just advise, bring their experience and level of expertise there. Obviously, community representation is very important. We now have Nicholas, who's very close to the community, and I find that he's a nice representation for the voice of the people in the community. But I want to build a list with the team and figure out exactly, once we have the strategy very clearly in place, who we should hire, what the right skill sets are, and yeah, that's where I think I could also bring a lot of value.
So you mentioned hiring and you know, coming on board, and a lot of people know the rationale behind, you know, this move, behind this appointment. But just to clarify to everyone, this is not a centralization move per se, but this is a specifically intentional appointment to bring people with certain skill sets at a certain time ahead of 2020, when things will get a lot busier. And it's also because it's always easier and better to bring people who already know, because we don't have a lot of time as well.
We don't. No, time is of the essence, period, in this industry, always. Things move so fast. And I get why people would think it's sort of centralizing. They're like, okay, well, now IOHK's on the... It's not that at all. I'm actually here also temporarily. So again, we're just leveraging my skill set at IOHK. So this baby, this beautiful product, which is Cardano, it has to be transferred over to the Cardano Foundation. It has to be put under a proper governing regime. So what I've also been brought on to do, I guess it's like fourfold or fivefold, is to also help enable that transition. I know all of our guys over there on IOHK. Obviously, I communicate with them daily. And I want to help make sure that we have the proper skill sets on the Cardano Foundation side once the product is delivered over there. That means even we'll need a good product manager on the Cardano Foundation side. Maybe we could even have one of our product managers move over. There's things like technical support that needs to move over to the Cardano Foundation. And I'm just going to help. It's like change management and transitioning and transformation. I'm going to help enable those sort of transfers of skills and resources and assets and responsibilities over to the Cardano Foundation. But then again, I will remove myself from the council once I'm finished with that. I'm very much an operations person. I love building things. I just love coming in and building and help enabling, building, supporting things. And then once it's there and the infrastructure is there, then I can step away and let the professionals take over.
As you mentioned, transfer of Cardano,
Yeah.
and I think community will appreciate that we're putting so much effort and so much work into ensuring the transition is smooth.
Yes.
And it's not just the technology itself, but the right skill set is
Yeah.
at the place at the right time.
Sure.
Because it's not just a product. For us, it's a lot bigger than that.
Yeah.
We want to ensure that the sailing is smooth.
Absolutely.
As well. And I think a lot of people appreciate that. And you mentioned that building these companies and building, skill set is very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
How do you envision the foundation's talent growing? I mean, we've grown quite a lot in 2019 from less than half a dozen to more than 20 in 16 locations. How do you envision it now with your skill set, with your talent on board? What's going to happen with team expansion in 2020?
For sure, we're hiring more marketing and comms people, right? A social media person, being able to communicate and making sure that everybody knows what we're up to, and we need a good social media person that can also speak to several different channels. There's a different strategy for LinkedIn than there is, because like you said, it's a platform for everybody. It's not just going to be for a specific vertical or sector. We need to be able to communicate our value proposition and what we're doing across several channels. So on the marketing and comm side, and that's your remit, definitely somebody on that side. And then I see maybe even like a business intelligence person, somebody on the research side to build our research capacity and our business intelligence up. If you're armed with information, you have everything. So I never underestimate the power of a good BI person, and that's what you do with that information that really matters. I also see us hiring somebody on the commercial side. The foundation, it needs a strategy about how it's going to make money in the future. So I think a good commercial person is really key. Like I said, a product manager over there as well. So once the product becomes completely decentralized, you're still going to need someone with product knowledge on the Cardano Foundation side to help even package SIP proposals. So that's Cardano improvement proposals. So I envision the Cardano Foundation acting almost like a business development funnel, because people are going to come and say, I want to build this on it, I want to build a supply chain. So I envision us enabling that funnel and helping it go through the Cardano improvement proposal process. It's going to take a packaging effort, and then that becomes completely decentralized, and people can vote on the SIP proposal, how much money they want to actually allocate to a specific improvement on the protocol or whatnot. So you're going to need a product person to help in that capacity. Probably somebody on the technical side too, an engineer or a director of engineering person of sorts. I can see somebody like that joining the foundation as well. So far, those are sort of the broad stroke roles that I would see that the Cardano Foundation needs. We need to build what the SIP proposal looks like. What is a Cardano improvement proposal? I mean, there's Ethereum improvement proposals, there's the BIP. We need our own version of that, really well thought out, and then that needs to be managed to a certain extent, but then given over, like I just said, to the decentralized sort of process. Yeah.
A lot of people think decentralization means just everything is free, everything is just decentralized, but the way I try to explain it to other people is, think of the street lights in the city. It's everybody's, but the municipal government, they maintain it. They're the custodians of those city lights. And do you see Cardano Foundation with time, how do you see the whole custodianship going forward?
Yeah, custodian's an interesting word. I think we need to really explore it together on the council and the operating body and with the community. And I think we should also study what other foundations do. I'm a big believer in taking best practices of what other people have done in the past. And we can do something different when it comes to that. But it's sort of similar to the Ethereum Foundation in that sense. I think you need to just enable the system, create the governance network, create the tools for other people to use. We should be a coordinating body between, so for example, one thing we could do is enable Cardano solutions providers. So we could have, what does it mean to be a certified Cardano solution provider, to build decentralized applications for enterprises or decentralized apps, period. What does it mean to be a certified Cardano solutions provider? I think that the Cardano Foundation could step in and say, this is the criteria, here are some trusted providers, and then when business development opportunities come in or enterprise opportunities come in, the Cardano Foundation, in a very fair, open, non-conflicting way, can submit that to a process where these people can vote on or request or bid on different enterprise projects. So I just see it as an enabling function, making sure that good governance standards, ethics exists in the ecosystem, but then really it has to run itself. I mean, the community has to run itself. It has to have its own ethics and standards and so forth. We can give them ideas, but we certainly can't make those decisions for them. They has to be built in a decentralized way. Holacracy is a really interesting model. I know a lot of companies have flirted with the idea of a holacracy. I think Blinklist actually even operates under a holacracy model. That could be something that we could think about when it comes to decision making for our community. We could present this as an option, as a governing structure or model for the community. Who knows? I mean, that's one thing. Also, I think that the foundation should enable a committee, a Cardano Improvement Proposal Committee. So it should be a body that enables other committees to come together and discuss important features or systems related to the Cardano product. But again, just a very enabling, and it has to be sort of a fiduciary sort of agent, making sure that the funds that are inside the Cardano Foundation are being directed in a very democratic and not conflicting and very beneficial way for the ecosystem.
As a person with a law background, I assume it's very difficult to get some things on track and working, especially in Swiss jurisdiction. And 2019, well, the first 10 months was spent on putting the foundation back on track, meaning a lot of things were delayed or put on hold. And that time is of essence, and we are trying to cram in, potentially 4 years of work in, less than a year.
Yeah, it's a huge effort.
And so, how do you think community can actually help us in ensuring that we become that enabler going forward, and that we have the right people from the community with the right skill sets in the right geographies at the right time, with the right ideas, so to speak, because we care about Cardano, and that's what we also want to ensure, that the community takes good care of it as well. How do we ensure that?
Well, firstly, I just want to applaud the efforts of Nathan and Domino and all of, when it comes to cleaning up, you called it, the foundation. That is a big effort, and it wasn't easy. And so I just want to applaud the effort of what those guys have done. You have to have a clean and clear and stable foundation, ironically, in order to, launch back from. So I think that we're actually good, and hats off to them, because I come in, it's like all the hard work has been done, and now to me this is the fun part, right? You can actually build. So I wanted to say that. So how do we enable the community to be good community members, to arm them with the right information in order to perpetuate whatever vision that the Cardano Foundation has also come up with? Well, it's all about communication. Firstly, I love the ambassador network idea. I mean, I'm learning more and more about it. I'm getting more and more involved in the community now. So the ambassador network makes a lot of sense, and just making sure that we arm the ambassadors with the right information, again, everything is information and communication. It's so hard to do, even a country, governing a country. It's very difficult to do. So just ensuring that we have those inflows and outflows of information channels and sharing content with them, constantly keeping them updated and making sure that they have the necessary support in order to be successful is key. So our ambassador program is key, because then they can help. It's a trickle effect, it's a ripple effect. They can help the other community members as well and keep everything on target. As far as tackling different markets, so now we've just hired a really good community lead, Casey. I actually helped recruit Casey, and I think he's gonna do a damn good job. He's actually a veteran community guy. Like, he's been doing community since day one. So some people fall into community management, but this guy, he's been doing it since the beginning. I think he was like in the World of Warcraft world, like from the beginning as a community manager. Like, he's made it a proper profession. Also because it is a proper profession. It's actually one area of a business that is, I wouldn't say it's underrated, it's just not well known what a community can actually be for a business. It's like, it's an offshoot of it. It can have tentacles everywhere, and it can be, like ambassadors is a good word, or envoys for you. So I think he's going to do a really good job. As far as expanding our community footprint, Africa is something you and I were talking about as well. So getting a good sense of, we already have an incredible network over there that we can really tap into with, IOHK. We trained 21 women as developers in Ethiopia. But John O'Connor is over there. He actually used to work for the community, and John is amazing. So John O'Connor has connected with all the people in Ethiopia and the ICE Addis people. So we're actually going to expand our network in Africa, and we'll hire more community managers there potentially, and then we'll start to really actually make a difference in Africa, because I think it's just an excellent place. It's such, and it's not like going into a country and just starting to dominate and putting your stamp all over. It really is similar to what we did in Ethiopia. It's enabling the people, empowering them.
The skills and
it's
tools.
Amazing. Yeah, like these women are amazing. Like, we gave them the skills of Haskell development, and all of them, I interviewed all of them too, all 21, and they were so passionate about it and so smart. Like, people think, okay, well, Africa, maybe it's a bit, still behind in its development cycles, but it's like the people are sharp. They are so sharp. Maybe they don't have the infrastructure completely, but they're so smart and they're so sharp. So if you give them the tools to build their own future, beautiful. We've done our job. And that's what I think the Cardano Foundation should do.
Talking of Africa, our recent trip to Mauritius, we've met with legislators, policymakers in that small island nation. And one of the things that we've been communicating is legislation is extremely important to ensure, to enable the blockchain, the blockchain complete era. How important is legislation and good governance in blockchain? And how long do you think, is it a one-off process that we have it, or do you think it's a constant review?
It's constant, it's iterative. Well, the law is iterative and constantly changing. That's what I love about the law too. There's things I love and dislike about it. Sometimes it doesn't iterate fast enough. So obviously it's really important to have or understand the rules of engagement that you're operating in. I was never one of those like anarchists that, when I did start in the space, there was a lot of people like, oh, screw the government, and, let's just say, I just don't believe in that. I believe in compatible systems. I believe in having another option. This is what we're doing. We're just creating another option for people, and that's how we should go about it. And I also am a big believer in working with the governments and seeing how we can make them more compatible with our systems, and also how we can increase the level of efficiency in which they operate. For example, voting. This is full disclosure. I don't vote because I honestly work so much, or I'm usually traveling, that I never have time to actually vote. So e-voting systems on the blockchain is such a great use case. But of course, the legislation needs to catch up with things like that, and also the payments issue, the payments use case is probably one of the closest that really sort of rubs shoulders with legislation. But it's important that we teach the legislature. These, it's hard enough for us in the space to understand what's going on. So educating people that are,
this
it's
is where the
really
partnerships come in.
Yeah.
We team up with
Yes,
others.
yes.
And we go
You have to
as
divide and conquer,
one
man.
voice
Yes,
to
absolutely.
the lawmakers and to write those policies.
Exactly. Yeah, and there's a lot of, I love the Digital Chamber of Commerce. I have so much respect for those people. They've been around for a long time, as long as, I remember them from early days as well. And it's people like that I really respect, that I think that, or bodies or industries like that we should definitely partner with and just add to the conversation. Charles does it a lot too. Like, he's just really well versed in legislation and policy and whatnot anyway. So having people that really do understand it, and people like Nathan participating in these conversations, is absolutely critical. And like you said, yes, we do need to operate. We need to collaborate or cooperate. There's different levels. You can collaborate, you can cooperate, and so forth, or you can compete. I'm a bit of a, hippie that way. Competition is very important. Absolutely. I'm also, a proper capitalist in that way too. Sure, we have to compete. Iron sharpens iron. But I do think we should work together a little bit more, and I know a lot of people are, and I applaud, even Ethereum for working and joining all these different consortiums and stuff, and we need to do the same. But I think we should compete even a little bit less and share more resources, because if we're going to change the entire infrastructure, and we're not changing the current state, but we're adding value and optimization to it. That's a big effort. Like the W3C, it's a big effort. We have to work together. We have to share best practices.
We are part of it.
Absolutely, we are part of. Of course, we're part of it. We need to be thought leaders in the space, and we can't resort to name calling and all that stuff that happens in the crypto space, which makes me absolutely nauseous. It's just not a place I come from. I come from a very constructive criticism place, like a professional place. I think we need to be a bit more professional too in this space.
As the industry matures, this will also become something of the past. I definitely hope so too.
I hope so. I think it's human nature as well. I think people do it out of fear, I think, sometimes. And whenever you're acting out of a sense of fear, or if you don't feel like you have enough, I think that's not the best place to act from. So absolutely. I have nothing but hope that we will evolve into a more mature industry, and I've already seen it, and some of the people in this space are just top notch. People like, there's people I respect a lot too and listen to as thought leaders, like Drew Hinks is a lawyer that I always listen to and go to for the latest crypto law news, and there's just so many good people in the space. Even the Accentures that are coming in, the PwCs, I think they're adding a lot of value. We need to lean on them because they're speaking to the regular, industries that are out there, and they really add a level of professionalism, which I appreciate.
When people ask me, how do I personally define blockchain, I say, since the concept was conceived in 1991, it's been 29 years, our understanding of technology has shifted.
Yeah.
And I think it will continue to change as the technology develops. But in essence, it's more than a technology. I love the word that you use, enable. I think it's becoming an enabling tool. And in some cases, maybe in emerging markets, more of an empowering tool.
Yes.
And I think when we start to see blockchain as enablers and as empowerment tools instead of just a pure technology, maybe then the legislation will pick up pace and the collective mind will shift as well.
That is very possible, and that's how, in my mind, that's how it should be, and the collective consciousness will come with it. We can't come at it combatively. Like I keep saying, you have to come at it with collaboratively. I know it really does sound like kumbaya. We're all just going to play our guitars and be one family, but we kind of should do that. Like, we have everything now in this world. There is absolute abundance, and I know those countries that really struggle with it, but we really do have all the information that we need now to do this. Like, it's time that we really actually do work together and build something great and just, live happier lives. I think everybody is just so stressed out about even just the way the system works. Okay, so I lived in Greece, Athens, Greece for a while, and man,
And in Doha.
and in Doha. Well, Doha worked a lot better though. Like Doha, their systems that they had in place, their banking systems, amazing. I used to love Doha because I would just sit there with my coffee and just such a beautiful banking experience. But anyway, yeah, but Greece and places like that, I mean, they really could do better with better infrastructure. And so those are good places to go into to help build a better, framework and infrastructure. And that's what blockchain, can also do and enable and so forth. So yeah, I think just collaborating a little bit more would be good.
Perfect. So this has been a very interesting conversation, and a lot of the times everybody wants it now, everybody wants everything. I want it right here, I want it right now.
Yeah, I'm a little like that, yeah.
But we also realize that...
I'm just kidding.
That things
take time.
And I think patience, perseverance, and commitment is absolute.
And planning.
Key. And advanced planning, yes.
I'm going to add in planning, because you got to plan too. If you're not all marching to the same, mission, then things get a little bit lost in the mix. So also planning. We need to have even a global business plan. Like, what the heck are we really doing here? That's why I like the United Nations and their development goals. That's very good. So at least we have 17 goals that we can frame our operations to. So planning is also important. And yes, patience. You're going to have to remind me to be patient. I'm not the most patient person, because I just think that if you have optimal people working under an optimal system, you can move faster and enjoy it. I think we need to enjoy the process, because we've never had this opportunity ever. This is fun. I mean, we're building new frontiers. It's amazing.
Sometimes I wonder, what am I doing? Am I supposed to do it like this? And then I realize, this is actually very new. We are actually blazing a trail.
Yes.
We are
indeed
making things happen as we go along at a, some people might say glacial pace, but I would say actually it's a galactic space.
I agree with you.
And
it's very fast.
Sometimes you might find yourself, am I supposed to do it this way? But then it's a maturing industry, and we are actually forging our way. We're actually bulldozing a trail instead of blazing. I think we're bulldozing a trail, and I guess planning and knowing which direction you go. And I would always say it's not a destination. Actually, it's a journey.
It is a journey.
We are taking on.
And that's why you can't plan too. That's a very good point. That's why you can't plan too much as well. You need to be agile in that. And Nathan said that, and I agree with him too. There's so many different points that you could, and so many places you could go. So you do need to be loose and agile. You just need to have the right people in place and some form of a direction, because we do know sort of where it needs to go. But, even one area about what are the best use cases for this technology. That's something that I think people are still, grappling with, like, where should we all focus our efforts first? But anyway, yes, I do agree with you. We are bulldozing and we are moving at galactic paces. It's good.
So here's to more bulldozing, more blazing, adding not galactic, but maybe, I don't know, like a mega galactic speeds. And it was good to have you here in Soup.
Thank you.
And I'm sure our community will enjoy our little chat. And
hope so.
This has been Tamara Haasen, our newest council member in Meet the Team series.